So, always good to be ready. And a safari is a great time to take photos. We are waiting here for the warden to give us clearance, but it looks like the magic lamp has lit and we are ready to go. Now, Twin Day, let's go on into, looks like the Little Ituri Forest up ahead of us here. And the Little Ituri Forest is where a lot of the animals have natural markings that blend them into their environment. So let's see if we can spot them as we go on through here. Oh, I think I'm already seeing over on our right-hand side, there is the adorable okapi. The okapi is a very shy creature, kind of hiding out behind a tree at the moment. So if we look around, we can kind of see it a little bit better. They're actually so shy, they weren't officially discovered until 1901. Before that point, there we go, we can see a little bit better now. Before that point, people didn't know if they were real or not, thought they might have been some kind of myth or legend, and sometimes referred to them as the African unicorn. The fun thing about them is that they have tongues that are so long, they can lick their own eyeball. Kind of fun about them. Oh, and it looks like right over here on our right-hand side, we're also able to see the greater kudu. Kind of up here on our right. Back here on our left, I also think that I'm seeing a black rhinoceros, kind of way in the back, almost looks like a rock. You see it back there? Awesome. Yep, that is a black rhino. They tend to get to about 3,000 pounds when they're fully grown. Oh, and I think I see another one. Right up here on our left-hand side, next to the wall. That one's a little bit easier to see. The black rhinoceros also will charge around 30-35 miles per hour at their fastest speed. And their horns, you'd think they'd be made out of some kind of bone structure, something like that, but it turns out they're made out of the same thing as your hair and fingernails, which is keratin. Oh, right here on the right-hand side, my personal favorite animal here on the reserve. Kind of hiding out in the back are the bongos. It's pretty cool to get this close to them because they are very shy as well. They tend to hide out in the back areas. They're probably referred to as the ghost of the forest. That is, again, very, very fun to see them up close like this, especially for me. You know, they're my favorite animal here. Their stripes on their backs do help them when it comes to blending in with their environment. Because if there are any predators around, they can stick their head behind a tree and leave their back out with the tall grass, stuff like that, which will help them to just look like they're part of the shrubbery. Over here on our left-hand side, we're also seeing a black and white bird, that yellow and orange bill. It's called the saddle-billed stork. And it doesn't look too tall right now, but when it stands up tall, it'll get about 5 feet. Right now it's sitting. And its wingspan is about 9 feet wide. Put that in perspective, that is the same length as the canopy above your heads, side to side. About 9 feet. It does look like we have headed out of that area, and we're going on in toward the Safi River. So let's see if we can find anything. Oh, yep, right here on the right-hand side of the watering hole, you can see under the water is hanging out a Nile hippopotamus. There we go. It's kind of on the right-hand side of our right. The Nile hippos tend to get to about 5,500 pounds, but when they're first born, they'll only weigh somewhere between 60 to 110. I say only, but I didn't weigh that for like the first 7 years of my life. Oh, you can see more over here on the left-hand side, hanging out behind this island. If you see a group of hippos like that, that's called a bloat. They stay around the water the majority of the time because they don't have sweat glands. They really depend on the water a lot of the time to keep them cool. They can stay underwater for up to 8 minutes at a time before needing air, or even sleep underwater. They'll come up for air every 8 minutes and go back down without ever needing to wake up. It looks like they are kind of sleeping right now. The lighter colored birds on our left-hand side in this middle island here are the pink-backed pelicans. Getting that name because during mating season, the skin on their backs will turn kind of a pinkish color. And they are one of the smaller pelicans in the pelican family. When they're nesting, both the male and female will tend to the nest, taking turns sitting on the eggs and stuff. Oh, look here on the left-hand side, you can also see the Nile crocodile. It's the largest species of crocodile in Africa.
Can't see nothing now because of the brush.
We'll get to about 16 feet long on average, but sometimes all the way up to about 20 feet. The same length as some grass gets home. And they can dump their body's length up out of the water. It's pretty crazy. Their typical diet consists of mostly fish, but they will also eat whatever may be unlucky enough to come out and cross their path, sometimes like zebras and bigger creatures like that. Easy way that you can tell the difference between a crocodile and an alligator would be by their teeth. As far as when an alligator closes its mouth, it won't have many teeth on the outside of its smile. When a crocodile closes its mouth, they'll have both upper and lower teeth coming out, and you can kind of see them pretty clearly. And now we're heading toward the savannah, crossing by this baobab tree here on our right-hand side. Nicknamed the upside down tree because it does kind of look like it's upside down when it has snow leaves on its branches like that. The roots are in the air. It'll remain that way for about 9 months out of every year, because instead of holding water in their leaves, they tend to hold that water and store it in their roots. And then hot summer days will come around and the animals figured out that they can go up to the roots and bite into them or dig into them and use them as a source of hydration. Oh, see another one of my favorite animals here, really close to us on the right hand side, are the springbuck. I think they're super cute. That is their full grown size. They are the smallest antelope you'll see here on the safari. They are not going to grow any bigger than that, so they're definitely just adorable their entire lives. Some people like to call them s'mores on legs. You can see that white underbelly. It's like s'mores, chocolate marshmallow graham cracker coloration. And like their name suggests, they do spring into the air about 6 feet high repeatedly when they're scared or excited. And then they can leap horizontally around 13 feet. Same as about half of this truck length. You can see a zebra over here on our right hand side, but also a couple of painted dogs over on our left hand side, hanging out under this rock formation. And some of them even farther on our left hand side back there. The painted dogs are pretty fun, friendly animals toward each other, not toward people. They are the only type of dog that cannot be domesticated. But they do work really well together, like to greet each other one by one every morning, making sure that they have everything covered. And when they hunt as a pack, they catch approximately 80 to 85% of what they hunt for. Rather than some of those bigger animals like lions that'll only catch around 15 to 25% of what they hunt for. Now coming back around this way, you can see those zebras a little bit clearly here. There's actually a baby zebra there on the right hand side. With the adult, almost can't tell when you see a baby zebra sometimes, because when they're first born, their legs are almost as long as they will be when they're fully grown. They kind of spend most of their young life growing up into their legs and growing up their main body area up top. Close to that zebra here. And on our left hand side, you can also see the sable antelope. The sable antelope is a pretty special animal to us. It's actually the official emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. They're known for not backing down from a fight, like we're known for not backing down from conservation. They're very territorial. They tend to stay in the same area a lot of the time, and they really don't like any other animals coming in their area. They'll kind of fight off the other animals, even if they're predators. And that huge horned cattle that we're seeing here on our left-hand side is the Ankole cattle, or sometimes referred to as the Watusi cattle, or the Watusi tribe that originally domesticated them. And they are the only domesticated animal you'll see here on the reserve. Those horns on the head will get anywhere between 3 to 6 feet long on either side, which could total all the way up to about 12 feet on top of their head. Look at that.
He's very horny. Dog.
You might think that their horns would be pretty heavy, but they're pretty light because they're hollow on the inside. Oh, giraffes up here on our left-hand side. At the moment, soon to be on our right. You can see these darker colored animals over here on our right-hand side sitting down. The grayish ones are the white-bearded wildebeest, and the lighter colored ones within the grass kind of grazing are the Patterson's eland. And the Patterson's eland are the tallest of the antelope here on the reserve. Oh, it looks like we're getting a chewing giraffe right now.
That's a baby boo.
That is a very aggressive way to eat.
Here you go.
Now these are the Maasai giraffe. You can tell from their pattern looking a little more jagged. Whereas some of the other types of giraffes are reticulated, a little bit more circular spots, a little more rounded on the edges of each spot. And they all do have their own individual pattern, even though they do look very similar. The others makes them all very unique. They eat for about 22 hours in a day, or just look around for food. You see a group of them over here. That's called a tower.
So you think?
They got purple color to their tongue, since their tongue is outside of their mouth so often throughout the day. They have a lot of sun exposure. This purple color is actually kind of like a natural sun protection for them. Oh, I think I see an elephant right over here on the right-hand side here, but that's an African elephant. Most easily identified by their ears, which often resemble the shape of Africa. It is the largest land animal, getting anywhere between 9 to 13,000 pounds when they are fully grown, depending on age and gender and stuff like that. Oh, I'm also seeing some mandrills up here on our left, which are the largest species of monkey. The male's usually getting to about 100 pounds when they're fully grown, and the female's only getting to around 40, approximately. They do have a similar kind of red and blue look on their noses to the Rafiki monkey in The Lion King. So that is definitely where Disney got some of their inspiration for Rafiki. They might have drawn a longer tail on Rafiki, but he can still be a mandrill if you want him to be. Another thing about elephants is sometimes you'll see they will use their trunk to grab dirt or mud, fling it up onto their backs. You might have seen a couple spots of dirt on their back. They'll do that occasionally because they actually have some surprisingly sensitive skin. They use that dirt and mud as a way to kind of cover their skin and make sure that they're not getting burnt. You'll also sometimes notice that one tusk is a little shorter than the other, which is actually because they are kind of like us, how we have right or left-handed dominance. They will sometimes have a right or left tusk dominance. Oh, and also here on the right, you can actually see where there have been elephants digging their tusks into the red clay. Oh, yep, a couple elephants over here on our left-hand side. The elephants will dig their tusks into the red clay because they will actually eat it as a part of their diet, giving them different nutrients and things that they don't get from other areas within their diet. They eat so much organic matter that their dung can actually be recycled and turned into paper. I think it's pretty cool. Amazingly, they do have about 40,000 muscles just within their trunk. Oh, look at this. Maybe trying to establish a little bit of dominance. Oh.
Wow.
Still going on. Oh, looks like one of them was just recently out in the water. They do tend to go toward the water. Oh, look at that. still doing this.
I don't actually usually get to see them do this that often. Most of the time they're just eating. That one there is pretty big, pretty amazing. Oh, and it looks like there's a group of greater flamingos right over here on our left-hand side. They're called greater flamingos because they are the tallest of the flamingos. Also the lightest pink of all flamingos. Oh, and we can see those Ankoli and the giraffe on the right side again. But the gray flamingos that you see sitting here and there are actually baby flamingos. Quite a bit younger. And the baby flamingos are going to have that gray color about a year and a half before they start to get that nice pink color. You get the pink color from the brine shrimp and the beta carotene in their diet. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. Also, non-migratory birds, meaning that they'll stay around the same watering hole pretty much their entire lives, which is why I think it's pretty important for their water to stay clean. So if it isn't clean, they might not even notice. And it kind of causes different diseases and stuff like that. So doing things simple as recycling can really help out with those animals that do tend to stay around the water. Or supporting water organizations, or even the Disney Conservation Fund, which helps out a lot of different endangered animals. Now, there's this mud pit on our left, just a good indication that there may be white rhinos around. These white rhinos tend to gravitate toward mud pits a lot of the time. Oh, the cheetah here on the left-hand side. See it up and walking around there on the left. Oh, and then there's another one way back in the back, kind of up and walking. Kind of looks like it's just looking at the territory. Cheetahs are the fastest land animal. You typically get between 60 to 70 miles per hour at the top speeds. About 60 miles per hour within just 3 seconds. So they can scale a whole football field within 3 seconds. However, they're not long enduring animals, so if they are trying to catch something, you're gonna have to do it pretty quickly. Another one here. Yeah, they do run out of their energy very fast. They really have to strategize when it comes to hunting. Unlike most other cats, they have non-retractable claws, which also helps them out as they're hunting. It's kind of like a cleat for a football player. It gives them a good grip on the ground as they're going. They're also the largest cat that can still purr. And daytime hunters, a little different than a lot of the other big cats. It gives them a little bit of an advantage, and they don't have to deal with the other cats. Oh, look here on the left, we actually see a
Big
lion.
baby boo. There he is.
Male lion. On the right side, there's also a couple water bucks.
Aw.
Lions do tend to sleep or rest the majority of the time throughout the day. You might also see way back on the right side, there are a couple white rhinos sitting back there. Kind of up this way.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to loop back around and see them a little bit better. Yeah, lions will sleep for about 18, 20 hours every single day. They're really only going to be active for about 4 to 6 hours. They'll usually be around nighttime when they do their hunting. They have 6 times better vision at night than they have during the day. It is the females that tend to do the majority of the hunting. But males still have work to do because they have to stay back and watch the cubs. Oh, there's a lioness laying there. Actually able to catch their prey without being heard most of the time because they have padded paws, which helps them to sneak up without being heard. The Swahili word for a lion is a simba. Oh, I see warthogs on our left-hand side. Kind of laying back
And that shaded darker dirt kind of in the center. They almost look like dirt, so it's sometimes hard to point them out. They have the same coloration almost. They are the largest burrowing animals, so you can kind of see they have little holes in the dirt here and there. They'll use those areas as shelters, or if they're feeling threatened by any predator, they'll back up into their little areas and use their horns and hooves to defend themselves. You might see that buck sitting down on the right hand side, and right in front of us are the white rhinos. Kind of a little bit hard to see, and if I move on forward, we're not going to be able to see them at all. And they're right up there. Very, very cool animals. And the biggest difference between white rhinos and black rhinos is actually not going to be their color. Oh, also ostrich eggs down on the ground right there on the right. The white rhinos and black rhinos are pretty much the same color. They are called white rhinos because of their mouth. It's a mistranslation of the initial word white from the Afrikaans language, which was meaning wide. So that is talking about their mouth, and that is kind of a major difference between them. The black rhino is going to have a little bit more of a pointed mouth and a hooked lip. It's pretty fun. Moves around in funny different ways, but it does help them grab their food. That white rhino does have that wider mouth. And another difference is the white rhinos are going to be a bit heavier than black rhinos. The black rhinos, like I said before, weigh about 3,000. White rhinos will weigh anywhere between 5,000 to 8,000 pounds. That does make them the second largest land animal. Now, one of those reasons that they tend to gravitate toward mud pits, like we passed, is because they will get it all over their skin. Kind of acts as a sun protection. They also have sensitive skin like the elephant. They get all over them, let it kind of dry. The rhinos that we saw here probably couldn't see us, so they don't have great vision. You can only see about 10 to 15 feet in front of them. So because of that, they really have a heightened sense of smell and hearing to know what kind of things are going on around them. If there's any potential danger, stuff to watch out for, they will know. And a group of rhinos is called a crush. It does look like, unfortunately, we've come up to the end of our trip through the reserve. I do hope you guys got to see a lot of your favorite wildlife as we went on through. If you didn't see something you really wanted to see, I highly recommend coming back around, riding with us again. Now we are coming up to the dock. We don't really like goodbyes very much here. They're just too sad and they're far too fun. So instead we like to say Kwaherini, Swahili for go well. So Kwaherini, guys, thanks for joining me. Once again, my name was Rayma. Go well, have a great rest of your day.